And we sat down and looked at other people out there, other influencers that are pitching quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Vee posts 59 times on Facebook last week. Grant Cardone posts 56 times. And a lot of people will say, I posted 5 times this week. That, mind blowing. That was so much work. They posted 59 times. Okay? Because they recognize that the algorithm doesn't show your video to everyone within your audience every time. Starting with, you're at U of A.
Yes.
You're taking entrepreneurship, minor in marketing, and now you're starting to kind of get into that LinkedIn space. What made you to take that jump? What was the exciting moment when you took that jump to start doing the LinkedIn videos? Did you follow anyone? What was that moment where you're like, I'm going to go on LinkedIn. I'm going to start something. Don't care what anyone else thinks, because most people are worried about what the judgment will be from people around you. What was that moment where you said, okay, I'm going to do it. Let's start doing it. Let's start making connections.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the way it started for me, going back, I moved here from Ukraine, virtually no connections, nothing. I came to Edmonton.
Yeah. Clean slate.
I didn't know anyone. And for me, being passionate about business and interested in business, I wanted to meet more people. I wanted to find mentors and such. So it started just by, meeting people face to face, but talking about the one moment, I was going through social media and I found this guy named Mani Goswami.
Okay.
Swish, that's what they call him. And he was, I think, in his 20s, and I was just 17. I was really curious about what he did, because he was getting really far with what he was doing, and he was on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right. And to reach out to him, I went on every social media platform. I didn't have LinkedIn at the time, so I created an account just to reach out to him. Got to meet him, and when I talked to him, he was actually the person who introduced me to the whole idea of using social media, especially LinkedIn for networking, right? So that was my start using LinkedIn. But in the long run, when I was just meeting people on LinkedIn, I found it the perfect platform to express myself. So one day, just decided to make a post.
Yep. Express your passion.
Just express my passion. Something very simple, and I got traction. I got some views, some likes. And I just kept going and met more people who were using LinkedIn and my age in other places, not in Edmonton, people in Toronto, San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I met people in those places during conferences, my age, and they're all killing on LinkedIn. Natalie Rousseau, she has 400,000 followers on LinkedIn. One of my friends in San Francisco, Jonathan, AVR, he has about 12,000 followers.
Yeah. So
just being around these people, it really motivated me to get on the platform and express myself.
It's interesting because there's 2 platforms that we talk about right now what I love about your story so much is there's 2 platforms that we always talk about that are really good for networking right now. Number 1, by far, anything related to business, you need LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. You need a LinkedIn profile. You need to fill it out completely. You need to start connecting with people focusing on your sphere first, focusing on your friends, and then slowly building content to build out your network. Mm-hmm. Because that network's going to that's your CRM for your entire career.
It is.
Right? You're carrying that forward. You're carrying those connections. It's going to allow you to get jobs. It's going to allow you to apply. That makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Then the second platform that's really important, but not in the same way, because a lot of people now don't think of it, is Twitter. And the reason Twitter's so important is Twitter is the last true social network where you can reach out to anybody. If you want to reach out to any influencer out there, you can just tweet them, and they're going to see that. In comparison to on LinkedIn, on Facebook, there's always that level. If you're not connected with them, then you can't send the direct message without an in-message on LinkedIn. On Facebook, it gets filtered. On Instagram, it gets filtered if you're not already connected with them. So there's limiting factors on all platforms. Twitter doesn't have that. You can reach out to anybody, and there's a chance to talk with anybody. And so those 2 platforms combined is really the 2 platforms we talk about for people trying to get out, meet new people, trying to network, trying to build an audience and get going. You coming here from Ukraine, which is such an amazing story, you come here, you got a clean slate, you don't have connections, you have to go and you're in university, you're meeting
Yeah.
people, you're putting it together, you're focusing on building that audience in that sphere first. And then seeing the traction you're getting now, you can see the results.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's so exciting. That's what social media allows people to do now. It allows them to expand their horizons. 30 years ago, you would have done the same thing, but you would have went to those conferences and networking events.
Exactly.
And we would have shook hands and we would have met and then continued. Now, you can do that online.
Mhm.
And you carry that through your entire career. And that's what's exciting. All right. We're rolling, so
Okay.
we don't need to do any more of this this pre-show. Let's get it. Let's sound that sound.
We're good.
Guys, we are with Roman from Edmonton. Hashtag rules with Roman.
Rules by
LinkedIn,
Roman.
Rules by Roman. I saw you on LinkedIn. I reached out. I really, really wanted you to come out and talk about it. And one of the things I really wanted to talk about, the coolest thing I think that I saw in your profile recently was your learnings from going door to door.
Yes.
So this is what I love about that. When I was younger, I went door to door, and I had a ton of amazing experiences that I carry to today. And I was selling energy. I was going door to door, and I wasn't very good at it. And I consider myself. Listen, at the time, I thought I could go and it would be easy.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of easy.
It was. It's hard.
It was freaking hard. And I went door to door, and my mistake was I went to the doors, and I would go and I would pitch some of the value, but really I was just selling them on the idea of cheaper prices.
Yeah.
And the important aspect of that is that now translated, the mistakes I made going door to door now translates in my philosophy today, where you don't sell anything.
Yeah.
You're going to the door, you're developing a relationship, you're telling a story, you're engaging emotion, and then you're solving a problem.
Yeah.
Which for me, those three things equal value.
Yeah.
And that builds our entire digital marketing philosophy, what we do on this podcast, what I do on YouTube, TikTok, everything. It's all about value. So now, I've talked way too much there. I want you to now fill us in on what you learned going door to door and just translate it into how you're going to take that experience forward.
Right. And going, talk about door to door. When I started doing door to door, that was back in, I think, 2018 or 17.
And you were doing alarm systems,
Alarm
right?
systems, yes. So what happened was I just finished my first year of university, and I already knew I wanted to do business going forward. And at that moment, just by accident, I met someone who was growing their team for alarm systems. And so, when he explained me the whole opportunity behind selling alarms door to door, I felt like it was perfect. That there was no objections for me. I just wanted to do it. So I went and spent my first summer.
So you dove straight in.
I just went straight in.
You went straight in.
So I met the team. Well, I met the people in the company. And a month after that, I went and left to Saskatchewan to sell alarm systems.
Yeah.
So I spent my first summer selling door to door in Saskatchewan. And so, I was 18 years old when I started doing the job. So I didn't really have a whole lot of life experience with people.
Yeah.
And so that job really challenged my ego.
Yeah.
I felt like I'm going to be the best. But, I was actually really struggling in the very beginning. And so what I learned from the job in the 4 months, that's how long we worked for, is the whole experience between people, how they interact, how they communicate ideas, feelings, and more things. So going back to Edmonton after my first summer door to door, I was able to take that knowledge and translate it to social media. So what I find really interesting is a lot of kids, they grow up with social media, they don't get talked to a lot of people, so their whole communication experience is based on social media. For me, it was the opposite. I got to learn the most raw experience, with people going door to door and take it on social media. And so, for example, when I send messages, when I reach out to people on social media, I always use the framework from door to door.
I think, well, and listen, I didn't last very long doing door to door. I didn't last as long as you. I didn't do 4 months. I only did a couple months. But I get what you're saying, because meeting a cold call. It's like a cold call on a phone, right? You're meeting someone for the first time. They're opening the door. You're interrupting their day, and you're creating a relationship with them right there. And I agree with you, right? And that's what social media is. When you post something, a lot of people that are going to see it are going to see you for the first time. and you're developing a relationship with them through that content that you're creating. So taking those principles of, again, for me, it was telling stories, engaging emotions, solving problems. If I was doing one of those three things, then you are creating a relationship with that person. And if you take those principles online now, and you tell your story, like you did earlier today, where we go and we're solving problems. When you're talking about marketing, talking about business on your platform, on LinkedIn, you're helping people to get to know you. And that's the difference. And I think that a lot of people still go and they do the opposite. They make the mistake of just selling. And when they do that, their content gets skipped over.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, like to add to what you just said in terms of building value through relationship building, that's the thing. When you sell door to door, selling doesn't work. You're not going to sell alarms by selling the alarm. You have to sell who you are. You have to sell the whole experience with you. You're selling the alarm system. And so I think I was able to take that lesson and use it with social media. So for me, it's not about social media. It's not about selling something. You know, I mean, I sell alarms. I could be selling alarms on social media. I choose not to.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work. I choose to build value for people.
I love it.
By with Rules by Roman, what I do is I feature students to professionals.
I love it.
And I feature professionals to students.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a gap between, people who've been in their careers for years and students in their first, second year university. I want to connect those two groups.
I love it. And it's creating almost that connection, that bridge between mentors and the students that are coming up, just like you were looking when you started on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Really cool. Really cool.
You know, like for me personally, when I went on LinkedIn for the first time, so I spent a year posting now. After a year of posting content, nothing crazy. It's very simple. It's just the things I like, my interests, what I get to learn. But simply posting what I like, I'm getting opportunities for mentorship, for work, for like partners, and more.
Yeah. And it's important. I think anyone listening or anyone watching this episode, it's really, really important to understand that a lot of people just don't do it because they're worried about what other people are going to think. They're really, really concerned that other people are going to see the content and think of them differently. But you have to push past that. Build the content. Be yourself. Be authentic. Build that story and build relationships online. And what happens is amazing. It's not magic. It's hard work. But people start to reach out. People start to get in contact. Job opportunities come around. Your network grows. And it's really amazing, and it's hard to explain for people that haven't done it yet. When that first message comes through LinkedIn of someone reaching out to come and meet you or just have coffee.
Yeah.
Like, for example, me reaching out to you to come on this podcast. When I got those first messages after starting social media and building content for a long time, it's a really, really cool feeling. And then you start to know it's working, because it's a ton of work.
Yeah, it is.
You know that. Like, it's a ton of work to get this going, but as soon as you start to get those little hints that it's working, it's a really, really, really cool feeling.
Feels like this. Feels like huge hills, huge peaks. Yeah.
Huge peaks, and then it's up and down. Like it's like you have those moments, but then there's a lot of the moments where you're building content, building the brand, where you don't see that traction. Yeah. But it's still those impressions. Every time someone sees one of your videos, whether they watch it or not, they're remembering you. You're top of mind. All of a sudden, as that relationship starts to grow, maybe they need your services. Maybe they want to talk about entrepreneurship, talk about business. For me, talk about marketing. If you're top of mind, it makes a huge difference in them making the decision to reach out and call or send that message through LinkedIn. And that works for any product or any business. Stay top of mind until that timing's right. Then they will reach out and convert.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, a lot of people, they underestimate what's possible in social media. Yeah. I mean, I personally believe that opportunity comes from the people that you know and the people that know you. So what I find magical about social media is this. Back, let's say 100 years ago, the only way you could meet people is by going to conferences that you mentioned, to events.
Yeah. To meeting them face to face.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the only way.
That was it. Your network was limited to the people that you could meet. Yeah. But as soon as social media came out, as soon as the internet came out, we now are connected to everybody. And that's the advantage now. And that's what I think sometimes it's still hard to contemplate the idea that you have access to anybody. Through Twitter, you can access anybody.
Like worldwide too.
Worldwide. Anyone you need to talk to. to further your network, to further your product, you can reach through Twitter. You can send out 1,000 tweets to every single person, and just playing that numbers game, a couple people are going to contact you back. But it's work. And I think that sometimes that's the barrier to entry where people don't get into social media, because it's the work, it's that effort that's going to have to go in to get that first message to come through, where all of a sudden you know what's working.
Right, and it has to be consistent. Consistency is the key. Yeah.
Consistent to what your audience is looking for, right? So for you on LinkedIn, posting the rules by Roman on a weekly basis, or whatever people know is going to happen, is really important. But always posting what your audience is looking for is also important, because you want to keep gaining that positive traction. Keeping the page from getting deranked, which was a learning curve for us in the beginning, when we were realizing that the content we put out has to relate to your niche, has to relate to your sphere, and keep it within that realm. You still got to create and correct and try different things and go outside the box. But don't go really far outside the box. And if you do, make sure it still relates to your niche. It's just important in getting that going and keeping that positive traction going on any platform that you're on.
Exactly. This is so huge, and this is not something talked about in Edmonton much. I think in terms of, if we look at Toronto, San Francisco, we should be having more of these conversations in the city.
I think, Roman, that's an interesting one. It came up in a couple conversations we've had recently, that Edmonton, Calgary, even Vancouver has a couple, but Edmonton and Calgary, or even Regina, Saskatoon, there's not a lot of influencers that have built up that audience.
Not a lot,
so the conversation's not there about it. It's not commonplace. When we shoot TikTok videos now, and let's say we go to Walmart to shoot a TikTok video, everyone looks at us super funny, but we're in the middle of Walmart shooting a TikTok video. And it's not like if we did that in LA. If we were in LA and we were dancing in Walmart, it'd be normal. But dancing in Walmart in Edmonton, Alberta, you're getting eyeballs from everywhere. And just recognizing that other places of the world that's normal, and here it doesn't matter. You're building really, really great content of value. You're expanding the horizon of how you're connecting with people is important. And to your point, I mean, at the end of the day, Toronto, San Francisco, LA, Vancouver a little bit, it's more accepted. New York especially too, right? It's more accepted. And here, it's a little bit hard for us to get going, because people are still skipping through content. They're not looking at it. They're thinking it's funny. It's not, right? If I went back, I mean, what I love the most about watching your videos for the first time is #rules by Roman. Because when I started this, I did the #TalkToJV show. And I got a lot of people that came to me and said, that's a goofy name. And you know what? In hindsight, in Roman, right? Like in hindsight, maybe it is a little goofy. Maybe it is. Maybe #TalkToJV was maybe it was on a whim. Maybe we were bold. It was, but you know what? At this point in time, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is that the content's going out, that it has value. And #TalkToJV is just the symbol of where we're going to go with it. I can change the #TalkToJV show to the marketing show down the road, whatever name I want. But we're building the audience and we're going after the content now. And #rules by Roman, I'm sure there was people that came to you and said, you know what, little goofy name. Doesn't matter.
That happened. And
exactly.
I want to talk about that for a little bit. Talk in terms of starting. So if we look at the city here, Edmonton, and like you said, Regina, these places. Making content is not a normal thing here just yet, especially like LinkedIn, for example, or TikTok. And I find that a lot of people that I talk to about creating content on LinkedIn for themselves, their biggest challenge is in here.
Always.
They feel like if they make content on what they like and put themselves out there, that they will be embarrassed,
Always.
And like I found that, I always say this, I made my first video a week after New Year's. Of 2019. And the reason I made my first video is because I had a conversation with my friend like we're having here, and he says, hey, let's record it. You just said something that really resonated with me. Let's put it on video. People are going to find value. So I made the video after 10 minutes of arguing, and that video went on LinkedIn. That's my first video. It's been a year now. I've posted at least 40 videos. If I stopped myself with that first video, I wouldn't have had any of the opportunities I got today through LinkedIn. And that's what I find so crazy. A lot of students are resisting making that first video, or
Well,
professionals.
They're worried. They're worried that it's going to affect them. It comes from the stigma from Facebook where there was that, where people and recruiters and everyone was starting to look at social media.
Yeah.
And they started to stop posting content because they were worried that by posting that content, it was going to limit their ability to get a job.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going and you're posting your
That's what I
party
was thinking.
pictures, right? Your party videos. You're putting out content of value. You're putting out stuff about yourself. And if anything, sure, maybe it does hinder you from getting one job. But guess what? That job wasn't for you then.
Yeah.
Right? Because those people, you wouldn't have been a good fit for that organization if you're putting out authentic content about yourself, providing that value to the audience, and they didn't like it. So by putting that out, you're going to be aligned with a network of people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
It's going to just expand your horizons, expand the ability of where you're going to get your job. If you're trying to start a business, it's going to put you in connection with people that want to help you start your business, that are going to grow with you, that are going to be part of your network. It's really, really important, and you just have to get over the hump.
Yeah.
Of just that first piece of content, that first video, get it out, be yourself. At the end of the day, if you look at my first video, the same as you.
Yeah, yeah.
The first video of what I produced compared to what we produce now.
What was the video, by the way?
I don't even know. Omid, what was the video? Do we know what it is? What was my first video? That would be an interesting one. Okay.
Probably exposure with JV.
Yeah, it was. We did one downtown. We have an office downtown, and
Okay.
it was. We went to that office, and we did an exposure with JV video for YouTube, and I'm just going to talk about the intro video. It was the intro to Exposure JV. It was one of the playlists I wanted to have on YouTube. And we sat there, we probably did like 10 takes. And it's only a minute video. We did 10 takes. The video quality isn't what we have now. I think the audio was a little muffled. We did 10 takes. At the time, I was worried about what the video was going to come out like, what it was going to look like, what I was going to sound like. And I did.
It's the biggest thing.
But you know what the funny thing is? I was worried about what I was going to sound like. We probably did revisions on the video, as far as I remember, and I still sound like a buffoon.
Yeah?
Like I still sound goofy.
Right.
Because I was I was trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
I wasn't being myself.
Yeah.
And when you step back and you look at that and then recognize that having our conversation here, we're having the same conversation we would have at a coffee shop.
Exactly.
No different.
You know,
And it comes out so much better on camera. It's really, really, if anyone's listening, the most important thing you can take from this entire episode is when you build content, be yourself. Right? And that's
huge.
Huge.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned, you know, the whole thing of looking at the video and being like a little self-insecure about it, right? When I make my videos with people, I don't watch it again. So if I did, let's say 3 takes, if I'm happy with my 3rd take, I'm not gonna watch it again until I post the video.
Yeah.
I don't want to create any resistance for myself in making these posts.
I did a video. When I was in London recently, I did a video, and I read Gary Vee's book, Crush It, on the way there.
Okay, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, so the most important thing I took out of Crush It, by far, was the fact that he always, every single time, and I'm sure that obviously he has 1 or 2 takes on some things, but he says every single day, no matter what, he does all 1 take, no revisions.
Right.
Ever. And it's really, really important. And as I've adopted that mentality to everything first take, no revisions, just do it, everything is turned around. Because your mindset now is, okay, have the discussion, be yourself, do what you do day to day, just go out and do it. And whatever comes of it, it's okay.
That's it. Yeah.
And that mindset has really helped me to build more content, build it faster, and have more conversations like this, right? Just so everyone knows, we've never talked before.
Never met before. Yeah.
Never
this is the
met
first
before.
time.
We met 10 minutes ago when you came in.
Yeah.
And that's the really, really cool part, again, about social, the connections you can make. And then by having this conversation, being ourselves, we can make really good content value content out to the audience, that's going to help them out.
And it doesn't, the beautiful part is it doesn't take away from our time, from our day.
No.
We're just getting to know each other while also producing the content, which will create opportunities for everyone. For the viewers, they can learn something, and for you, for me, for everyone. Everyone benefits.
We say hashtag capitalize on content, baby.
Yeah.
Everything that you do every single day. We just did it. It's funny. We were doing a vlog yesterday, and we came in, and I did shots of coming up the stairs and opening the door, and then making coffee in the morning. I do it anyways. I was making the coffee anyways, but I was capitalizing on that content. That video went on TikTok. It's going in the vlog. Like, it's just, it compounds once you start to identify that everything you do every day, anytime you're doing something that's within your niche, that's going to help your audience, make content out of it.
It's that simple.
It's that hard too, right? Because you have to do it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. You know, when I do my LinkedIn sessions, you know, a lot of people come up and say, well, you know, creating content will take a lot of my time.
Yeah.
But I tell them, hey, think about it this way. You're gonna have, you know, you're gonna be meeting mentors and people in your industry every single week, most likely. Why not just take what you learn from those people or from what you're reading and put it into a content piece and post it online? Then that way you're not just benefiting yourself by learning better, by, you know, creating into content, but also your network.
Yeah.
You're sharing your value.
I love it. I love it. And I saw that, and that's why I wanted you to come out. I saw that from the content you were making. I saw that you're approaching it the right way, not selling, providing value, and just keep doing that, man. Keep going out there, making as much as you can. Make more. If I was to say anything, make more. We learned the other day, it was a super important lesson for us when we looked at, and this has got to be a promo clip at some point in time, because this is really, really important for everyone to hear. When we sat down and looked at other people out there, other influencers that are pitching quantity, they post, Gary Vee post 59 times on Facebook last week. Grant Cardone post 56 times. And a lot of people will say, man, I posted 5 times this week. That, like, mind blowing, that was so much work. They posted 59 times, okay? Because they recognize that the algorithm doesn't show your video to everyone within your audience every time. So they post quantity. Yes, their videos are good, but quantity always is going to surpass quality. So post more, make more content. The more you get out there, the more touch points you're going to have with other people. And that, at the end of the day, is going to come back to what I said earlier. It's going to keep you top of mind so that when the timing's right, when they need your product or service or your niche, they're going to remember you.
They're going to know. And they're going to trust you too, because they see your face on Facebook every day or LinkedIn. And, you know, I want to talk about, you know, quality and quantity. You know, it's what I find that, like you said, quantity is a lot bigger than quantity. It's a lot more important. A lot of people are stopped by quality. They want to make a piece of content that's perfect. That's impossible.
No, what was the quote? Casey Neistat in one of his vlogs recently said, "Don't let perfection get in the way of good enough."
Yes.
And that is really important to recognize for anyone trying to make content. Because for me, like you said, right, at the end of the day, we're our own worst critics. If I was chasing exactly what I wanted every single time, some of my videos wouldn't be out there. That's why we leave it to Q now. We leave it to GT to edit the videos. We want to make sure that we're building the content as fast as possible and getting out to market as fast as possible. And yes, some companies have compliance. Yes, there's things that you have to worry about in terms of making sure the content is up to your brand standards and gets out. But at the end of the day, remove as many restrictions as possible. For yourself, remove the revisions. Do one take. Get out as much content as you can. Boom. More people are going to see it. You develop your audience and you get going. That's everything.
Yeah, this is huge. You know, like, I have the perfect example to show, kind of explain to the audience and to you what's been possible for me by just making content, you know, and being consistent. You know, I really like LinkedIn as a company, and I always wanted to, you know, be a bit more aligned with LinkedIn, not like get a job, but you know, be maybe an ambassador or something like that. So what I started to do is I started to do workshops at my university for students, right? And I made that into content pieces on LinkedIn. And so what I would do is I would tag people that work for LinkedIn in my pictures, in my videos. So at some point I was like, okay, well, what about what if I start cold calling people through LinkedIn that work for the company?
Yeah.
I spent a week just DMing 3 people a day.
Mhm.
After 6 days, I got my first good, warm response.
Mhm.
7 months later, I had 3 phone calls with people from LinkedIn. And just a couple of weeks ago, I got to go to University of Calgary, Athabasca, and other post-secondaries to shadow a LinkedIn salesperson.
Really cool. And
Yeah.
isn't
Just from social media.
and just for everyone out there, the thing I took out of that, what you just said,
Yeah.
you only message 3 people a day,
Yeah, that's it.
right? And at the end of the day, that's it. That's all it takes. Dedicate
3
that
minutes.
time.
3 minutes a day.
3 minutes
a day.
You get home.
That's it.
You get home. You eat dinner. You send out 3 DMs.
Yeah.
Boom, done. Like that. That's all it takes. But still, I think there's those barriers where people just don't know how to approach that first one.
Yeah.
Just do it. Send out 3 DMs. Whatever you want to do in life, you can find that opportunity through LinkedIn, through social media, through online. It's just about reaching out to people and building that network,
Yeah.
connecting with people.
This is the number one lesson I learned from door-to-door sales. You don't get the deal, you don't get the sale unless you knock on the door and ask for it. And same thing with social media or anything else in life. You have to approach people, communicate what your intentions are, build relationships, and ask for things.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And I feel like a lot of people, they're just stopped by that fear to get rejected, or that maybe they won't get that one job because of one post they made. But the thing is, in the long run, you get a lot more stuff. And like you said yourself, the things that you don't get, they're not meant for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a fantastic place to end this episode.
Yeah.
Roman, thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you
Once
for
again,
inviting me.
guys, this is our first meeting. I think we're going to have to go for coffee. We're going to have to meet again, develop that relationship. And that's the power of online. So let's close it there. This was fantastic. Thanks,
This is
Roman.
great. Thank you a lot.